How do I process audio for my videos? This is a question I actually get a lot. I'm going to show you how I personally process my talking head audio tracks. I'll show you the plugins I use and some tips and techniques for how I arrive at my finished audio in my videos. So this is 200% nerdy stuff and it starts now. So, good day and welcome to the Time Preservation Society. I'm John Hammond. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can be notified the minute new content drops. Cheers. First, it goes without saying that the audio processing parts of this video will show my own way of doing it. It doesn't have to be your way, and many of the other pros out there may process their audio in a totally different way. The only thing that matters is how it sounds when you're done. If it sounds good, it is good. I'm going to be referring to audio for talking head videos only in this video. So what I'm doing right now, this is what I'm referring to. So not music, not the other stuff, just talking head videos. That's what I'm using right now, okay? Right now you're hearing me through a 416 mic and then into a Sound Devices Mix Pre 6.2, then dumped onto my computer and then synced with this video and then processed. So you're hearing that final end product right now. This video will talk about that process. First, an important PSA. The key to going from a novice to an expert in audio post work is confidence in your own ears. That's the key. When you're a greenhorn, it's easy to have zero faith in your ability to know what sounds good or not. In fact, if you're just starting out and you're confident that you know exactly what you're doing, then that's not natural skill, that's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Self-doubt is the natural and healthy way to start out. There is no shame in not knowing what you're doing and then asking someone for help. But if you find yourself in an online group somewhere and you ask a question and some douchecraft carriers dogpile you and start telling you that it's a stupid question, seriously ignore them. They clearly have nothing to offer you because they most likely have no idea what they're even talking about themselves. Everybody has to start somewhere. And if you need to put someone else down who is more new than you are, then you may not be as knowledgeable as you let on. And you are probably aware of that. Because the need to put others down to make yourself seem more important in order to boost your own self-esteem is pretty telling. Anyway, being new and asking questions is how we learn, all of us. So ask away, learn from those who know and will help you, and cast away the buttheads. Sorry, but that had to be said. There's a lot of that crap going on online, and I had to tell you that. So don't get discouraged by douchecraft carriers. So, the moving from a beginner to a pro is all about learning to trust your own ears. Well, that's easier said than done, right? You'll hear that answer a lot when asking audio questions. Use your ears. And of course, this is in no way helpful if you haven't made that leap to really trust yourself yet, but you will. So it's important to get constructive criticism and learn from it. Take it and say, all right, I'm going to do better and do better. And that's it. You should hear some of my early music stuff. Actually, you shouldn't. H-E double hockey sticks, you should hear some of my middle stuff. Bad. I didn't trust myself and made bad audio decisions because maybe I bought a plug-in or outboard rack gear and I needed to use it, regardless if it needed it or not. That was every year I've been alive up to maybe 2005, which incidentally was Batman Begins and Constantine ago. I think I still suck at mixing music, if you ask me. My main thing was recording it and selling it to artists or sending it to a mixing engineer to be mixed for a TV show or movie or video I was scoring for. I mean, mixing music is a serious skill that takes years of dedication and hard work, and even if you've been doing it for 60 years, you'll think your work 5 years ago sucked. That's the game, man. So that's your end goal. Learn to trust your ears and when to use plugins and when not to. Generally speaking, less is more with audio, but that's not always the case. So here's the process for capturing and then editing your audio for talking head videos. The main thing you should spend the most time on before processing is capturing your audio as beautifully as possible at the very start. It's so easy to do the post work when you've recorded it well. Remember, like anything else, shart in, shart out. You can polish poop, but it'll just be shiny poop. So the number one thing to do is making sure your room is free from echoes and reverb and noise. So be sure to acoustically treat your room. Not soundproof it, although if that can be done, then excellent, but acoustically treating for reverb. This can be easy or complex, cheap or expensive, and you can arrive at it in many different ways. But the objective is to remove bouncy echoes and room reverb that bounce around and create standing waves and bad sound. No one likes hearing that, even if they don't know why they don't like it. Moving blankets are amazing. I bought like 12 or maybe even more of them altogether, used moving blankets a few years ago on Facebook Marketplace for like $40 or something. They're heavy and they're dense and they work great. You're actually hearing them right now by not hearing the room reverb. I've not professionally treated my space here because it's an unfinished basement. So I hung some blankets all over the room and cut across the corners, so there's corners here, and I cut across them with these thick moving blankets, sometimes 2 or 3 of them. And I rounded the room and did all that kind of stuff. It's cheap and it works. Also, the wall behind me, they're curtains. They're actually 3 sets of heavy blackout curtains in front of each other covering a poured concrete wall. Yep, friggin' works, so whatever. I even have moving blankets pinned to the unfinished ceiling with thumbtacks. Do what you can. Even hanging duvets will help, but try to keep them at least a few inches from the wall so that the sound waves travel, hit the blanket, lose power, then travel some more, hit the wall, then bounce back, travel again, and then go through the blanket again. It really deadens the sound and it works great. The other thing I did was have just far too much stuff in here. This helps break room reverb too. The only reverb I have going right now, or the bouncy standing waves that are created, is this tabletop, which I can hear right now. I'm actually thinking of throwing a moving blanket, or I'm just grabbing some maybe white, cheap acoustic tiles that are egg cratey kind of thing, and try to just catch those 2K, even at 500, 700, somewhere around there. I can hear a bit bouncing off. Yeah, so maybe I'll do that so I can get rid of that, because I can hear a little bit of that comb filtering. Anyway, do whatever you can do to break up any reverb. That's the point. Moving blankets are like gold on movie sets. All the location sound people have a bunch of them handy for, hanging or putting them on the floor to dampen floor bounce. They're hanging all over the set, but out of view of the camera, just like I'm doing right now. Number 2 is choosing the right microphone. This is very important. I've covered this already at length in my How to Choose the Right Microphone video, which you can watch right here. For me today, I chose the 416 because I love it, and I find it easy to work with, and without room echo causing comb filtering, it sounds great. The third thing is making sure you've chosen the correct sample rate, your bit depth, and your levels are good on your recorder or interface. I also covered that at length in the How to Record Digital Audio video, which you can watch right here. But the magic numbers to know for talking head videos are 48 kilohertz, 24 bits, and averaging at minus 12 dB on the meter with peaks at around minus 6. Just make sure you never hit 0, no matter what. You can go quieter than that and boost it later, depending on your preamp, that's okay. But I covered that on that video, so you can check that out if you haven't seen it already. Then you record your talking head as you record your video. This is what I'm doing right now. My head is talking, and I'm recording at minus 12 with peaks of around minus 6 on my Mix Pre 6 here. Yeah, we're going good. This is good. Good. Next, you dump your video and audio onto your computer. So now we will go into my computer and see what I do. Just so you know, I'm using Davinci Resolve, the free version, to do all of my video editing. And I use a Mac. I used to work on a PC, but then went to Mac. And once you go to Mac, you never go back. If you're into the arts, that is. My Mac measures... Oh, hold on a second. Let me just find my crusty old measuring tape here. You know, this measuring tape was manufactured by a drunk friar somewhere in the 12th century. I picked it up in Sherwood Forest back in '91. Anyway, my Mac is a 27-inch iMac, so there's that. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so we're inside the computer here. I'm actually editing right now. In the past, what you just watched, I haven't even finished it yet, but you've seen it before me. Because I haven't even seen what I've edited yet. I haven't even heard it yet because I haven't really done it yet. I just started chopping it all up here, and that's what you hear. I'm going to be referring to audio for talking head videos. So you already watched that, and yeah, so this is what I'm using to edit with. Let me just show you a real quick rundown of how I do it in Davinci, okay? I'm only using it for Davinci. This can apply to Premiere or Final Cut. However it is, you have to learn how to do it on your particular software. So what I do is I import the audio. So in this case, I have the mix pre audio. It's separate than the M50 video, which is here. You'll see there is the mix pre audio and there's the M50 video. So what I do is just I select both of them together and then hit auto sync audio based on waveform. Now I can do that because my camera audio is running and it's very, very close to me. So since I'm recording the camera audio, it'll sync the mix pre audio with the camera audio because I'm so close to the camera that it won't be off at all. So it syncs no problem that way. You could also go time code. You could do all kinds of ways of doing it, but this is what I do when I'm close to the camera, nice and easy, and it syncs the audio by itself automatically. This is the free version of Davinci Resolve. Excellent. So now I drag the video into the timeline, and then it puts the audio here, and the audio now is not camera audio. It is now replaced with the mix pre audio for the 416 mic. And then you can chop up your video however you would normally chop up your video. That's what I've done here. I've chopped up the video. Okay. The next thing you want to do is you want to go in here into the settings and go to Fairlight and make sure that target loudness level is at -14 LUFS. That's loudness units full scale. So I'm not going to go into the technical stuff about what LUFS means or any of that stuff. It's just loudness, okay? Perception. And it's measured in LUFS, and YouTube wants it to be -14. So in order to do that, you set it to -14, and that's your target. So target loudness level, -14. I have it set that way. Excellent. Okay, and now we're going to go into Fairlight, which is the plugin section. You can see the audio here only in this video. So and there's your audio track, which I've called main over here. Now I've taken the liberty of loading up some plugins that I normally use and threw it on the main audio channel. That's your main channel here that we're listening to me talking right now. What I'm doing right now. This is what I'm referring. So you can see that red here, it's going up to 0, but 0 is -14 LUFS, okay? So the next thing I do is come up here and I set this meter to, I like this one here, the 4. You can use the 1 as well. I like this meter here, and I lock metering to transport so that every time I pause and play, it restarts its calibration. So it's nothing here in integrated. Now watch. So not music, not the other stuff, just talking head videos. That's what I'm using right now, okay? So what you're seeing here is what your target is. Integrated, it means that it's the average of the entire video, the audio of the entire video from start to end. So make sure you're only looking at that when you've got your final edit done and all your audio is clipped to what you want. It is the average of the entire video. So your target should be about -3 integrated, okay? Anywhere around there. But you just want to get in somewhere around -3. That's where you want to go your target right here. That's your average volume for the whole thing. And the second thing you got to look at is your TP, which is your true peak. And you want that never to go higher than minus 1.5. And that would be the highest that it should go, because otherwise YouTube doesn't like that. And also you're getting close to clipping digitally, and you don't want that. So you want to make sure that your true peak, that means that anytime you have like a collapse or whatever, and it kind of spikes or something spikes, that it never goes over minus 1.5. So now we got that. That's going to be our target. So how do we achieve all of that? Well, plugins, because now we've got your kind of normalized track, and then we're going to go into the plugin chain that I would use. Now, I've taken the liberty of loading these plugins ahead of time. So the first thing that we're going to do before anything else is get rid of noise. Now, with the 416, 416 is not a super quiet mic. It's not noisy, but it has a little bit of self-noise. Sometimes you've got some room noise, whatever. Well, I've loaded up Clarity plugin. It's a Waves Clarity, which is like a $29 plugin. I normally don't use this plugin. Usually I use the Universal Audio's C-Suite CVox. I like it way better, but it's very, very expensive, and you have to have an Apollo unit in order to run it. So what I did was I opted to go with Clarity just so I can show you the difference. So this is without it. Right now you're hearing me through a 416 mic and then into a Sound Devices Mix Pre 6.2. Then dumped. So now let's just add a bit of clarity onto my computer and then synced with this video and then processed. So you're hearing that final end product right now. This video, so I've just taken out that hiss, right? So the hiss that happens, in the room tone, room noise. Sometimes you can get rid of, furnace noise, whatever it is. You want to get this first in your chain is just get rid of the noise when it's the raw signal. So that's the first thing you do, get rid of that noise. The next thing you want to do is go into your EQ. And so this is what I do. I throw on any EQ. It doesn't have to be Fab Filter, but it's just my favorite one. I'm sure you've seen it a million times. It's expensive, but you could use any EQ here, any parametric EQ, and just roll off the low end, because that's where all your junk and all your rumble and all that crap that you do not need for talking head videos on a dialogue, you don't need it. Same with singing. You don't need it, okay? So I roll it off. Now, I rolled it off at 80, but if you have a higher pitched voice, or if a female or something, you can, roll it off up here. It just depends. You just listen and try to see where you can find that it's not affecting the voice. As soon as it starts affecting and taking out some of that sound in the voice, you want to bring it back, right? So I usually put it around 80, roll off that junk. Okay. This helps because if there's any junk here, it's not going to trip any compressors or limiters down the line. It just takes that out. Now, if you don't have a multi-band compressor, sometimes hunting for frequencies and doing subtractive EQ will help. So, for example, let's just make one here, and I'll hunt around somewhere where I know there's going to be problem frequencies. Well, hear that? Novice to. So I would bring that down a little bit and do a little bit of subtractive EQ here. So if you want to know subtractive EQ, how to do that, I have a video on my channel. It's probably popping up to the right top of the screen right now to show you where you can click on it and you can learn how to do that. And I go more into depth. But you can just take out offending frequencies this way, right? Or do what I like to do even better, which is go to my next plugin in the line, and that's Soothe 2. Yes. Soothe 2, the very expensive, never goes on sale kind of plugin that everyone says, ooh, get that. That's the one to use. Well, they're right. It is a fantastic. If I couldn't tell you, this may be my favorite plugin of all time. It is such a, what it does, no one else does it. So, there have been people who've tried or companies who've tried, but Soothe 2 is a multi-band dynamics kind of compressor that will only compress the problem frequencies, right? So you can hear an expert in audio. So here's a flat start, right? So let me just show you what it can do. So let's throw on something, just a preset. Go into vocals, and then I'll go to vocal deharsh. Pick 2. So okay, this creates this area where a vocal might have some harsh, pointy frequencies, and then it just takes out the ones that suck. That's it. That's what it does. Watch. Post work is confidence in your own ears. That's the key. When you're a greenhorn, listen to that. I mean, let's see if we can click it on and off. It's easy to have zero faith in your ability to know what sounds good or not. In fact, I didn't do anything. I just turned it on. I just picked a preset. This isn't even my preset. This one just comes with it. And then you just dial in how much you want it to go. Between -3 and -6 is usually pretty good. So it's a really great way of, before hitting a limiter or a compressor, of just taking out any of that really high pokey frequencies and rounding out the sounds. And that is so amazing. And it's expensive. I'm sorry, guys. It just is. There are some other plugins that kind of try to do that, but I'm telling you, man, nothing like Soothe 2. I've tried a bunch of them, and they just, Smooth Operator, I think you've got, I don't even know, 3 bands or something, but Soothe 2 just does it. So, sorry, but this is what I love to use. So let's just throw that on. And then into the limiter. I just use a stock limiter here. Nice and easy. A little stock limiter. What I do is I set the ceiling to -2. That usually does it. And then you can bring up your level here, and that's what I've done. I've brought up my level. I increased it up to 8.6, and then you'll see it starting to limit and kind of compress. Watch. If you're just starting out and you're confident that you know exactly what you're see right here where it says reduction doing, then that's not natural skill. And you see where the blue over there, that's where it's going over where I've limited it. And it's kind of keeping it down. It's compressing it down, so it kind of keeps it in that box. So as I do that... That's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Yeah, it is. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Self-doubt is the natural and healthy way to start out. There's my integrated. It's moving all around as I talk. But there we go. So there's a limiter. So now, so this is a good integrated. What you want to do is listen to the entire video, let it go through its whole video, and then find out what that number is, and then make sure that it's somewhere around -3, -4, -5 is fine. Even -6 you can get away with. -2 is fine. This is where your target is. So there we go. So there's my change. So once again, we're going into taking out the noise, and we're going into the EQ, taking out the low end. Then I'm taking out the pointy frequencies, which you can do with any kind of multi-band compressor, and then into a limiter to limit it. Finally, it goes out to the master, which I throw on another limiter, put the ceiling at about -1, just to catch anything else that might go over. And you got to make sure that your true peak is never, that's fine. Look at that. That's nice and safe, really safe. Never up to higher than -1.5. And that's a pretty good chain here. So that's it. There is no shame in not knowing what you're doing and then asking someone for help. But if you find yourself in an online... And there it is. So look at that. Integrated at 3.2. That's perfect. That's so perfect right there. And that's great up here. That's great. And that was just a quick little chain. And that's it. That's how I did it. So, that's how you do it. All right. So I hope you learned some stuff. But this is it. This is how the video you just are watching right now, what I'm going to go to, is using what I just did here for the video. So you've been listening to that the whole time. And so what do you think? Okay, back to me sitting there talking. This me. Okay, back to him. So there you have it. That's how I edit my audio for my talking head videos. But once again, you should take from this the fundamentals and not do the exact same thing as I do, because my voice will be different than yours or those you're recording. Every situation is different. The object of editing in post is to make it smooth and even and not annoying to listen to for a long time. Find the pointy resonant frequencies, if there are any, and tame them. And try to keep your audio level. And for YouTube, as I said, you need to aim for -14 LUFS integrated, and that's it. I must stress again that while I use some expensive plugins, I do so for ease and speed. You do not need high-end plugins to make your audio great. You can use stock plugins, just learn how to use them and you'll be fine. For example, I just switched to Apple's Logic Pro as my main DAW. I was on Studio One Pro for many years, and before that, Nuendo. All of these DAWs have stock plugins that will get the job done. you can just as easy render out your video with unprocessed but edited audio and take that into your DAW and then use the plugins available there if you're more comfortable. There are all kinds of ways of doing it, and you're not losing any quality with digital transferring. So that'll do it for us in this video. I hope you've learned some stuff about producing better quality audio for your videos. As some say, sound is 70% of the movie you watch. It's the same for talking head videos. Audiences can and do forgive bad video or film, but they never forgive bad audio. So make sure your audio is the very best you can, just as I've done here for you. I've spared no expense. Bye now. In transmission. Yes. We like playing with audio over here. We have such a good time. Yes, we do. It's always fun. Watch this, and then this one, and then this one. Thank you very much. Goodbye.